and the cups out. The Olivia Rodrigo limited edition one. Nikon's is just blue.
But
No. I do the intro first. You know this by now.
I thought we're coming in hot.
No, we're coming in very slow. Hello and welcome to another episode of Elz Tells.
Do I sing now?
Now you sing. Now we go.
Elz Tells, Elz Tells, Elz Tells, what she telling? Yeah.
That was a good one. We're getting better at it. On today's episode of Elz Tells, we are going to be talking about everything Disney live-action movies. Ooh, including a review of the new Snow White film that we went to watch the other day. Disney's Snow White, the new live-action. Let me have a check on my running order. Where should we begin? Should we begin with the
You've
review?
got a running order. Where should we begin? Well, what you've got first on your running order?
Start at the very beginning. First of all, before we start anything, on a previous episode, the Streaming Sucks episode, I put to Nick on the question, has cinema etiquette gone out the window? Do people not know how to behave in a cinema anymore, etc., etc.? And he was very much of the opinion that they'd paid their money, so let them sing, they can do what they want, like it's a public space, don't go out in public if you don't like it. Why don't you tell the people what happened at our screening of Snow White?
Totally different scenario.
Go on,
totally
tell
different
them.
Scenario. 3 kids came in, but they hadn't paid their money, so that's totally different.
No,
I'm talking about people who paid their money to watch film, and if they want to like sing along, that's fine.
Right, you're not telling the story. I'll tell the story.
3 kids came in.
Let me tell you something.
All right.
No. We got half an hour into the film, would you say?
Yeah.
We'd just met the dwarves, was the tea, wasn't it? We'd just seen Hi Ho, and 3 teenage girlies come into the screen. Now, we favour an aisle seat when we're at the cinema, don't we? We're sat on the aisle. They come up the stairs by us, and instantly as they come in, they are so loud, not trying to hush tones it, like so loud. I don't care if the trailers are on and you want to be loud, but we were already like half an hour into the film. I was engrossed in the film. And then these girlies just come by like laughing, and they get to the top of the theatre. So they're a couple of rows behind us at the very, very back. And they are so loud. They are commenting on things on the screen when it's like a quiet moment. And then the others are laughing. They're throwing popcorn everywhere. The mess they left behind was disgusting. And I was fuming.
Yeah, but they were screen hoppers. They came in and said, "Oh, it's Snow White," and then they were filming TikToks at the back. That is not.
But explain what a screen hopper is, because I didn't know what it was. Nikon used to work at a very popular cinema chain, so explain to people what a cinema hopper is.
Just people who go in and pay for one film and walk out to a different screen to see another film.
So they could have
which
paid,
kids do all the time.
So they could have paid to see something like chill, and then they go into a horror film.
They didn't even know it was Snow White when they came in.
But still,
but that is not what I was saying before. I was saying, no. You're twisting. I've said people can sing if they want to go to a film like Wicked and sing, and you were like, "Oh, I don't want people to sing." No, that is a different thing. What happened there? That is 3 people who didn't even pay to see this film coming in and filming TikToks.
I was talking about cinema etiquette being out the window. There was no etiquette in that.
Yeah, no, that annoyed me too. But that does not contradict what I was saying before.
So,
that was not people who paid their money.
That
was not people who paid their money.
Like it. You got very angry.
Yeah, of course, because that wasn't 3 people who paid their money and sat down and can do what they want. That was 3 kids just coming in to disrupt it, just being like really annoying.
So, anywho's, 2 of them went out, then came back in. At that point, I said to Nikon, like, I need to move seats because it was so disruptive. And we sat there for a little bit longer to see if they would chill out. They then started using the flash on their phone, and I'm sensitive to light as well, so I was a bit worried about that in a dark room, having like light flash past me. But like it was illuminating the whole side of the cinema. So we got up from our seats on one aisle and went to the total opposite side of the cinema because we'd missed a good chunk of the film because of the disturbance. I was like, I do just kind of want to leave and reset and restart. Like, I shouldn't have to, don't get me wrong, but I was happy to if it meant that I had a better experience like the next day. Luckily, just as we were literally about to leave, they got up and left. But this is
another couple left, didn't they?
Yeah, another couple left. But this is after they were literally stood on the stairs in the cinema with their flash on, filming TikToks. Like, oh.
It was pretty annoying.
Like, that's
That,
not
like
just
I said,
annoying.
though, different to what I was talking about before. That is different to people singing along with the film. They were literally just like
Well, so
flashes on filming TikToks, totally different sound.
the perfect example is there was a family a couple of rows in front of us, and during Whistle While You Work, they were like dancing and vibing and like you know
That's
singing
totally
to each other.
fine. Yeah.
That's brilliant. I love that. It brings the vibe of the cinema. I want to see other people enjoying it and loving it, but those people weren't watching the film. They were filming TikToks and they were disturbing everyone, and they were talking so loud. I could hear their whole conversation. It wasn't like, you know, you can lean across to someone and say, haha, wasn't that bit very good or something, but they were having a full on, yeah, they were just awful people. I know some people might be like, oh, why didn't you say something? Well, I just didn't want to get involved. Do you know what I mean? I'm there to chill.
Yeah, just end of the day, it's just free kids.
Let's be real. It was a nightmare for someone like me who, like, I looked forward to that all week. So, yeah, if you are, for any reason, watching this and thinking about doing any of that in cinema, please don't, because, like, it just ruins it for everyone else.
Or not on my screen. Go hop in somewhere.
No, on my screen.
Like, when I was in cinema, like, you'd get, like, the 13-year-olds, but they would go off into, like, 18 screenings. Like,
Right.
don't come into Snow White.
Where's the motive?
You can afford and you can come and see
Right.
Snow White, legitimately. Like, go sit in an 18... That's where we caught screen hoppers.
Yeah.
Like, they would be, like, 13. They would pay to come see something like Snow White.
Yeah.
And you'd then find them in an 18 and you'd be like, out. Like, what are you doing here? Out.
So
But that's why
weird.
they came in and out. I reckon they probably came in, thought, this is pants, and left.
Yeah,
So-
I thank God they left. But let's get into the review of Snow White, because despite that, and I think this is a testament to the film, I was still engrossed in the film.
It was good.
Apart from the disturbance, I was engrossed. So, strap in. Are we doing no spoiler review, yeah?
Yeah.
There's no need to put spoilers.
I mean, we all know the story of Snow White, but yes.
Yeah, but it's changed, hasn't it?
What bits?
Are you joking?
Off camera. Maybe I don't know the original Snow White. well
You just said everyone knows the original Snow White, and then you don't even know what's changed. Loads of stuff changed in the film. So now I've filled Nick in on the lore of Snow White. Let's review the live action Snow White. Your thoughts?
It was good. It didn't change my life.
I loved it. I think that may possibly be my favourite live action that they've done. And I have notes. Do you want to know?
Show me your notes.
Right, let's go through one by one,
But it
shall
wasn't
we?
life-changing, though, was it? It wasn't like watching A Few Good Men. It wasn't
the
like
thing, though.
Shawshank Redemption. It's not like top-tier cinema, but it was good film.
Here's the thing, though. I could say that about a lot of films. I watch a lot of stuff that doesn't change my life. I'm not life-changed, but it's what it does for you in your heart and your emotions and your soul. I would say that this is a very girly film in terms of, like, there were points when I was getting emotional and she was singing and I felt like I really related to it. Whereas, like, obviously, Nick like, you don't have that.
Oh, yeah. I felt more connection from the Dwarves songs.
Right.
I enjoyed them more over any girly numbers.
What, even waiting on a wish?
Yeah, obviously. Hi-ho.
Thousand treetops.
We dig all the way through.
You're
yeah.
the classic worker man. You're like,
I love
ha-ho, ha-ho.
I just found that way more up my street, just more fun.
This is
Like,
the thing, though. I think us girlies like me, like, love that, like, romantic, like, wishing thing that is like a thread through a lot of Disney stuff. I think it's very princess film, and I love that. The hopeful wishing element is something I really enjoy. I have bullet points I would like to talk about. First of all, Rachel Zegler.
Very good.
The controversy cannot be ignored. So I would like you to please get out your phone. I do have something I would like to show the class. See, I'm bringing receipts again. Rachel Zegler did that famous interview where she said, oh, she's not going to be saved by the prince.
Yeah.
It's actually Gal Gadot that says that first, can I just say?
Show me the receipts first,
She
and
says
then discuss after.
she's not going to be saved by the prince. Wait. But the receipts are Lily James, who played Cinderella in the live action, and Emma Watson, who played Belle in the live action. Just listen to these.
We wanted to make her stronger, less passive. I guess the main difference is the relationship with the prince, that she's not waiting for a prince to save her, that she's so strong.
The biggest thing about watching Belle for the first time compared to other Disney heroines was that she wasn't waiting to be saved. There was no saving to be done.
Absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Which is exactly what happens in the film.
Oh, but there is a prince.
No, but there's no. But that's not the
And they
point.
fall
She
in
never
love.
says there isn't. She never says there isn't. She says she's not dreaming about being saved by a prince, because she's not. They've changed the whole narrative, which is even just shown in the "Waiting on a Wish" song at the start. It's not "Someday my prince will come." It's not that anymore. The whole essence of Snow White has been altered and is so much better. Don't get me wrong, there's a strong love story in it, and I love it. But why is Rachel Zegler getting all the hate when she didn't actually say anything bad at all? It totally makes sense, especially after you've seen the film. And Lily James and Emma Watson have both spoken about the fact that they have changed their princesses in the live action.
Lily James more so. Belle was always badass. Belle
was always badass.
You know, but Belle was like shooing off Gaston in the 90s.
No, 100%.
So to paint out like we've made Belle more, like, no, she was already badass. She was taking on beast. She sacrificed herself for her dad. She wasn't scared of no beast. Locked herself in a
no beast. I'm afraid no ghost.
To make out like we've made Belle more badass, like, sorry, that's not possible.
Right.
She was already cool.
Right, I do
Fair
agree.
enough with Lily James being like her version of Cinderella. Less about my prince and the ball and all that stuff. More about,
This poor girlie has been ripped apart on the line and she didn't even say anything bad. And like...
No, I'm sure it's more racist stuff, isn't it? Which is probably there.
Right. I'm getting onto this.
Yeah.
The hate comments that I have seen related to that remind me very much of like The Acolyte, where people don't watch it. They haven't even seen the film. They're writing this stuff before the films come
Yeah,
out.
because there's a black female lead.
It's just like, really, why are we still doing this? Even so, I would write positive comments on like something, you know, like Waiting on a Wish video and stuff like that. Like,
I love that anytime you write a comment, people always say how much you've been paid.
Yeah.
Because they think, because you're like Disney influencer, they think you've been like
they're like,
bribed
cash
into
those checks from Disney. And I'm like, right, I'm not
But I
being
find
funny.
it hilarious because like no one like, you almost can hide behind it. Like you don't get any hate for it because everyone just goes, how much are Disney paying you for this? No one says like, Elz, you're such an idiot. Why are you thinking this? Everyone just says, how much are you being paid? Cash in the check. And just
The thing is, so right.
no one
it's
thinks
like,
you've got your own opinion.
Can I just point out that, have I actually ever been paid by Disney for anything?
No.
Oh, I did. No, but that's not Disney. I've done a couple of Disney related things for
They
like
use PR
products
companies,
or
though, don't
whatever.
they? So-
But no, I've never been paid by Disney to do anything. Ever. I really want to do a whole influencer episode next season because I think it's important and interesting too, to be honest. But I don't get paid. If I got paid, I wouldn't be writing, oh my god, like Rachel Zegler is such a princess and like loads of like emojis. I'd be a bit more like professional. I don't know. But I've even got like hate comments on my comments. So I can't imagine how Rachel Zegler feels and how all of the creators feel because it's not fair. You can't judge something on... She can sit on you if she wants. Dolly's just jumped up on Nikon's lap. You're going to sneeze though.
Simmer down.
If she simmers down, it's fine.
Simmer down. Yeah.
I wonder if you can hear how loud she's purring.
Probably not.
It doesn't matter because it's relaxing.
My one thing, not with Rachel Zegler, with the whole film, was the stylistic choices around not just Snow White but lots of the characters.
I know
right?
what you're going to say. Rachel Zegler's hair has been compared to
that's
Lord
not,
Farquaad.
That's not her fault. It's not her fault.
Lord Farquaad.
But the stylist did a dirty on Rachel Zegler
Here's the
because she's
thing.
posted pictures of her before in like a Snow White style kind of,
Right.
and she looks amazing. It was Lord Farquaad in places.
I felt like there was inconsistency with the hair. One minute it looked really like plump and the next minute it looked quite flat. But I do know that sometimes it was her
She
hair.
like Anderson .Paak.
Oh no. Sometimes it was her hair and sometimes it was a wig. So that may have been the difference there and why, I don't know. But I knew that before going in, so maybe I was just like noticing it. I don't know. I like the fact that they've kept it original because every other retelling of Snow White, she doesn't have the short hair. Like, why is there this narrative that you can't be beautiful if you have short hair? So for example...
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying it was distracting.
You got distracted by it.
Yeah.
100%. I saw a TikTok of a guy, and can I just say as well, if anyone has recommendations for people online, girlies on the line, who review films, etc., please can you send them my way because I love following the interviewer style people, the girlies, but I don't have many female reviewers and I see a lot of males commenting on it, and there was one that really did annoy me where it was like, oh, she's meant to be the hottest chick in the kingdom and then you give her hair like that.
Yeah, no, ridiculous. No, I don't see it from that point of view.
That missed the whole point of the film. The whole point of the film
Yeah.
is that the beauty is from within.
Yeah, totally.
It's literally the whole point.
And she's the fairest of them all, not the hottest one of all. That's like...
Right. Hottest chick. It just...
I know, yeah. No. And that's the thing. I'm not commenting on it from a chauvinistic way. And I'm not digging on it on Rachel because I love Rachel Zegler. I'm just saying that the stylist did the Gorley already.
Yeah, right.
Just a little bit
critique
dirty.
it. You can have short hair and it can be voluminous.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely could have been better. But I think I'm glad that they kept it short like the original. It
You
needed
know,
more volume. It needed bigger curls.
And in terms of like styling the outfit, the thing is, I don't particularly like colour, which is crazy, I know, because I'm with
I
you.
do.
But I found her outfits were very like garishingly colourful.
See, I like that though, because it was a complete difference to everything else.
Well,
She was
totally,
like
yeah,
the shining light.
Because the prince
all
was
of
in
the-
like dark green and browns. The queen was in your dark purples and dark blues and greens and grey. And she was like yellow, red, blue.
If you look at the original Snow White like dress, the colours are more like muted, and then over time, as like they've done sort of more Disney marketing and stuff like that, the colours have got brighter and brighter and brighter, and so these look more similar, in my opinion, to the things they use in like the marketing for the princesses, where it's like really, really bright.
I found she looked unrealistic because I know it's a fantasy film, but so bright. I was just like,
So I really liked it.
I just thought no. So it was a stylistic thing.
I'll tell you the styling that got me a little bit was the Evil Queen.
Evil Queen. They made her look like Gregory Porter.
Yeah.
And the whole face and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right, so, like, first shot of the Queen.
When she
looks
walks
stunning.
in, yeah.
You know, this is no secret.
She's not in, like-
Because they portray her as, like, this beautiful sorceress from another land. And Gal Gadot comes in with her hair down. I'm like, oh, yeah, beautiful sorceress from another land.
Yeah.
And in 5 minutes, she's got her face in the little
Yeah.
Gregory Porter. And she's like... She's got no hair, no ears, and she's like that.
The necklace, like at the end that she wears, is very like it looks a little bit fake. Like it doesn't
With
look
all the
real.
jewels on it, yeah.
I get
And
what
this is
they
the
were
thing,
going for.
it's not
They were going for like the mines and the gems, the
Yeah,
dig,
obviously,
dig.
yeah.
But if I was going to draw what I would want the Evil Queen to wear, it would not be what we got. It's a personal preference thing because like the little kiddies who are going to go and watch and love this film aren't going to be thinking, oh, those gems don't look real around her neck.
I know.
So it's really not that deep. Like
I personally didn't like the crown. So like the original Queen had a kind of small. I just felt like someone said make the silhouette really like
dramatic.
and a really dramatic pointed crown. Whereas like in the original, she kind of had a gold crown that just had a little bit of a triangular point. And I feel like we could have done the similar sort of thing, but they went really dramatic. Like she literally had like an isosceles on her head. She looked like she was in a maths class. Explaining the types
someone get Pythagoras in here.
and I just found the stylistic choices of the wardrobe and hair.
But I
I
would
was
say
just
though,
like, oh man, this is just not how I would have done it.
I
But
loved what they refer to as like the rags dress of the princess. So like the like muted red one.
she looked better in that.
That looked
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
To be honest, I loved it all. I'm not too offended by any of it. I don't really care. Like overall,
No, it's just tiny.
it's all passable. It's just that when you look at something like, you know how they did like Lily James's dress in Cinderella?
Stunning. Yeah.
That is still, in my opinion, the unbeaten Disney princess dress. Like
Even Emma Watson's bell dress was not bright yellow. It was like wonderful. Like,
no, it was bright yellow.
What was it?
And everyone
like
says it was a
golden.
little bit like underwhelming, but also
That's what it's meant to
if
be.
you look
Yeah.
at it, Lily James's dress was bright blue. Bright blue.
Yeah, but stunning.
It's not actually the colour then, is it? Overall though, Rachel Zegler's performance is incredible.
Very good.
The whole film is like musical theatre on screen, right? I feel like they really leaned into the musical theatre.
Great voice as well, which I knew she had because, like I said, I like her anyway.
Amazing voice. Do you know how old she is?
Our age, probably.
No.
Younger, 23.
She's currently 23, born
Yeah.
in 2001.
Yikes.
I'm a 90s girly, guys. And she started filming that, I think, when she was 19 or 20.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not being funny as well, guys. Like, why is everyone bullying this poor girlie on the line? Like, I
Very
don't
good.
understand.
Yeah, very good.
And it is because she's talented and she's beautiful. I'm sorry, but it is. She's amazing. And obviously, as we know, everyone's complaining about the whole Snow White thing and blah, blah, blah. Like, we just need to get past all this, like, casting exactly the same as the thing that they drew back in the 90s or you know, that was 1939 that came out, I think. Like, we need to really get past and move on from this. Someone randomly decided one day to draw it that way. It doesn't mean it has to stay the same. And I'm a Disney girly, okay? Like, I love the originals, but I do love when a live action does something different. There was enough of the original story for this in me. Like, for me. There was enough of the original story, and I even liked at certain points it was frame for frame like the original, but enough difference that it felt like I was watching something new and refreshed. So it was great. I would like to talk about the songs. The songs in Snow White are 10 out of 10 in my opinion. This is the best revamp of the songs that we have had in a live action Disney film.
There were good songwriters behind it.
So it was, I hope I'm saying this right, Benj Pasek and Justin Paul, and they worked on Dear Evan Hansen and La La Land, two of my other absolute faves. So I feel like I get them, I see them, I love it. I was kind of hoping I would love it. Unapologetic musical theatre, loved it. Even in the first song, when it first opens up, I had tears in my eyes, I was welling up. I looked at you, didn't I? Because I was like, it's really getting me. It just hits me somewhere.
My favourite bit musically was, because there were some weaker songs, but...
Go on, like...
The Queen's song.
Now, here's the thing, though. I don't actually think it was weak. I think when you look at that, it feels like, you know, like an Ursula song. Like it has a really bouncy...
Yeah, and maybe because the other ones are ingrained in me more. But the section of the film I properly enjoyed was the hi-ho into the dig, you know what I mean?
Incredible.
And then the whistle while you work. That whole section where Snow White is with the dwarves was flawless. I wouldn't change a second.
The next thing I want to talk about is the CGI dwarves.
Right choice.
Right, here's a question though. Do they actually mention anything about them being dwarves in the film? Or do they just refer to them as their names? Because, here's a question for you. They said that they had been there for 274 years. Well, then they're not like the classics, are they? There's obviously a magical element. Just like Gal Gadot.
Gadot.
She obviously has a magical element to her because she has powers. I don't know if they're ever actually referred to as the dwarves. It's not even called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's called Snow White. So I don't know. Online, people are saying, oh, creepy CGI dwarves.
No.
I think it was magical.
They were done perfectly.
Dopey especially was a highlight.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of new thread with Dopey that I think explains his relationship with Snow White a lot more. And I love it.
I think it would have been more distracting to have them played by humans than CGI.
I think that's fair.
Just because of what they were there in the story to do, to serve as this magical thing. These fantastical, 274 years old, fantastical creatures of the forest, they weren't trying to humanise them.
Like the fact that they're like down in the mines with the diamonds and blah, 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 and they've been there that long, there is an extra sort of, they're meant to feel a bit more fantastical.
I just think with how they were being used in the film, you'd end up CGIing them a lot anyway. So you'd end up with these humans being CGI'd a lot. There's even scenes when they're in the cottages and stuff, and they're like jumping up and down, they're bouncing up and around, someone falls on the table and launches someone else off into the air.
For me,
like
it made a lot of sense. I didn't even think it was like the lazy choice. Like, for example...
No, it was the better choice,
I thought it was the better choice.
It was the better choice.
It felt more magical, fantastical. When you watch that hi-ho bit, and even them like walking home, and you know the classic shot of them, they're like sort of silhouettes, shadows and stuff like in a line. For me, it just made a lot of sense. I was really enjoying the first part of the film, and then at one point I went, oh my god, we haven't even met them yet.
Yeah.
And like that bit for me is like when Snow White really starts kicking off, is when she's in the woods. One thing I would say about the evil queen is that I felt like she was too young.
I think she was fundamentally cast wrong.
Okay.
Gal Gadot.
I felt like it should have been someone a little bit older, maybe someone like Idina Menzel or someone like that who...
I don't think she was menacing enough. When I think of you think of Narnia, like Lion, Witch, Mordred, and Tilda Swinton, who played the Snow Queen or the evil queen in that. Terrifying. Evil stepmother. Is it Emma Thompson who plays? No, it's not. It's
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, who plays the stepmother in Cinderella. Menacing. Devil Wears Prada.
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep and Devil Wears Prada. Parada. Menacing. Really able to hold the screen and be really menacing. Gal Gadot. Again, I've seen her as Wonder Woman. Love her in that. Because
Rachel Zegler, in my opinion, was so right, the evil queen became not as important to me, like within the story, because I was loving Snow White and the Seven Dwarves so much.
Yeah, but they had a real opportunity to make a really good villain.
But then it's the styling as well for me, because I can't take you seriously if I can't see your ears and like the isosceles on her head.
Like
which is really funny because I'm sat here and you can't see my ears and I'm in a bucket hat.
I think Melissa McCarthy did a better job as Ursula.
I mean, we are going to talk about the rest of the live actions, but just quickly before we move on, what would you score Snow White, the live action, out of 10?
7. That's still good for me.
Still really good.
Yeah, that's still good.
This is the first live action where I immediately want to watch it again. I would probably give it and I love the soundtrack. I'm just really thinking about this here.
Bear in mind what you would consider a 9 and a 10. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
I'd probably give it an 8.5, maybe even a 9.
That's very high.
I loved it. I really, really loved it.
Because, I mean, if I told you to list your 9s and 10s, you'd be listing phenomenal films.
Yeah, but I'm considering it as like a Disney live action.
Oh, so what would you rate as a Disney? Okay, what would you rate it as all the films you've seen?
Like, let's be real, my only 10 out of 10 film ever is Toy Story 3. That's a 10 out of 10 film. I don't have any other 10 out of 10s. There's nothing at all that I would change about Toy Story 3. I think I would still give Snow White live action an 8 against all other films. I really, really loved it. I can't explain it to you enough. It's got a better version of the story, in my opinion. It's got better songs, in my opinion. I still love the original ones. But
to both of those points, that's not hard to do because...
It is hard to do. You're telling me that the Beauty and the Beast live action soundtrack sounds better than the original 90s one?
No, that's hard. Right.
No.
No, from the point of view, from the point of view is that the base film wasn't a lot to start with. So to make a live action Beauty and the Beast better than the 90s Beauty, that's hard because the 90s Beauty and the Beast is spectacular. The original 1939 Snow White, to do better than I'm wishing.
I like that song.
But as in like
I like that
that's
song.
not going to be hard to make songs better than that. And the storyline is so basic. Where she just rides off. She rides off with the prince in the end in the white horse.
No, it's not.
That would be so easy to be like, right, let's go a step further and do this and this and this with the kingdom and the queen and resolve that storyline. Anything's going to have more flesh, meat on the bone. So yeah.
Me on the bone.
Meat on the bone.
Me on the bone. No, I'm sorry, I disagree.
I think that's a really easy thing to do to make Snow White better.
I totally disagree.
Oh, I don't know. No, I think that's really
could have
easy.
gone so wrong. Mulan.
Yeah, again, that's impossible.
Ruined it.
That's why they weren't able to make it go. Because to make Mulan better
we'll get
than
to
it was.
What I'm saying is, I think this might be my new favourite live action. Cinderella is probably a close second, but we're going to get into all the others right now. Don't forget as well, you can let us know what you thought of live action Snow White, but remember to keep it spoiler free in the comments. Are live actions necessary?
No, but they're nice to haves.
No. Okay, here's my thinking. I like it when it changes something or you learn something new.
Yes, that was going to be my controversial corner. I hate when live actions replicate the original, like frame for frame. With the new Lilo and Stitch trailer that's come up, and people are like, oh, frame for frame. I would just go watch Lilo and Stitch if I want a frame for frame Lilo and Stitch. Give me something. Give me the story of Gantu, or give me the story of Jumba and Pleakley.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And give me a totally different perspective. And like I said,
what about Dave?
Dave and Nani.
Give his perspective of I'm not being funny. He loves Nani.
Cobra
but
Bubbles.
Why all of a sudden? Yeah, Cobra Bubbles' his backstory.
I don't care or want a frame for frame, and people loving it. And the dialogue is saying, "Where is he?" with the overlooking shot into the panic room, and then
he took the red one.
Oh, he took the red one, and frame for frame, even the ice cream drop. And I'm like, I get that you're referencing the original.
Yeah.
The reference is the fact that you're redoing a film in the Lilo and Stitch universe. You don't need to give me frame for frame.
Right.
That's my controversial corner.
Okay.
Maleficent was a perfect use of a live action.
That's literally the two I've got on my list as sort of examples are Beauty and the Beast, because you get the story with the mirror and her sort of backstory of her family member. Mm-hmm. Really cool. And Maleficent, because it's a completely different perspective on it. The ones that I tend to like less is Aladdin for me didn't change enough.
Nothing changed.
I was and Jafar, I didn't find him as scary as in the animated one. So there were a lot of things about that one where I was like, oh, I'm not getting enough new.
Aladdin could have been such an opportunity to make it around Jasmine, because Jasmine had that phenomenal song in the live action. Speechless.
Guess who wrote that?
Who?
The same peeps who wrote Snow White.
That was a phenomenal moment. It was all about Jasmine not being forced into marriage. The film should have just been called Jasmine. It should have been a different tack.
I also think that it can help revive an old story, which is why I think that Snow White works well, because you don't see, in my opinion, a lot of young girlies saying that Snow White is their favourite princess.
No.
Obviously, it's the oldest one. It's the first one they ever did. They didn't know if it was going to work, etc. It works really well to bring in new ways of telling the same story with the same princess. Things like Pete's Dragon.
Pete's Dragon was phenomenal, yeah.
Pete's Dragon was such a good one, and they changed the story totally and completely.
Pete's Dragon was incredible, yeah.
However, classic ones like Beauty and the Beast, do they really need to be retold yet? Are they reaching a new audience?
No, they're only 90s. It's
And I feel is it a case of nostalgia but I don't even feel like I'm old enough for it to be that nostalgic yet that I want to see a new one.
Not unless you're giving me a different retelling. I would have loved it from the prince's point of view, where we see more of his life, more of him being an idiot before he
Right.
then meets this sorceress who turns him into a beast.
Well, we kind of got that because we see
For
him
like
with his
30
mum.
seconds.
But no, yeah, but I get you. I wanted it to be more a whole story about him. Like Maleficent is really a whole story about her, and we
Yeah.
get what happens to Aurora, but it's about her wings and all of that.
She carries it perfectly,
So-
Angelina Jolie.
Do audiences not want to risk a cinema trip and spending their money going to the cinema on a story that they don't know? Is it a safety blanket that they'll go and watch a Disney live action because they already know the story?
Yeah, maybe. But then, so I feel like if you've got that guaranteed audience, tell it differently.
Right.
Give us something better.
So,
Something better or different from the original.
like Lion King, right? That was one of the highest grossing things
Yeah, and I didn't
ever.
need to see Lion King again. Because what they've done with the second one, which is like Mufasa, and about Mufasa and Scar, that's what I wanted from Lion King.
Right.
Because you could have called it Lion King, but actually made it about Mufasa, who was
The
the
Lion
Lion King.
Yeah.
And it's like...
The actual
It's
one.
taken you the second film to do what I wanted you to do in the first
So
time.
here's my other question though. Are they actually live action if it's all CGI?
Well, this is the thing, but I mean, they are predominantly live action, aren't they? You can't say they're not.
What, do you think Lion King, they've got
Well, that's like
trained
sa-
some lions to
Well,
do
that's
all
like
that?
saying then that like Marvel is not live action. Marvel is live action, but I mean, it's riddled with CGI.
Yeah, but there's literally no one
That's like-
live in action in Lion King. Oh, I got you there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that, but
You got me there. If it's going to be live action, should it be live action is more my question.
yeah, but you're not gonna.
do
You're
you
just not
think?
gonna be able to do all of it the same.
I do find that sometimes when you get those sweeping shots, like in the cinema especially, you can tell when it's like green screen and CGI and stuff behind because it almost like looks like it lags on the screen. And that is the one bit about these kind of films where it does take me out of it a little bit. Hot take then is Mufasa, the film. I think they should have done that in 2D animation. I think
They seem to have stepped away from that, though, haven't they?
Well-
2D as a whole.
there's a rumour
What rumor? Because they
Going
tried to
around.
dabble it with
with
Wish.
Wish.
And
Yeah.
they just didn't dabble with it enough.
There's a rumour going around that they might be bringing back 2D animation.
Good.
And I think
Because it doesn't age.
Right.
Princess and the Frog and Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, Mulan,
Stunning.
Little Mermaid. I could go back to all of them now, and they have not aged.
art. Mufasa film would have been a great thing to put in 2D because you're going back to the roots. I think so many people like me would have turned up to the cinema to support like their first 2D comeback.
I think other generations would as well. Your parents would come and watch a 2D Disney
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah.
Because again, that's how they would have watched it 30 years ago.
I do think they kind of missed a trick there, but I have not personally seen the live action Mufasa just yet. By the time this comes out, I probably would have because it's going to be on Disney Plus. But we didn't get a chance to watch it when it's in cinema. So regardless, seeing Mufasa in 2D would have been great. When I say Disney live action films, what comes to your head?
The princess ones, but then the other ones like Pete's Dragon, Christopher Robin,
Yeah, that's a
Ewan
good one.
McGregor, phenomenal.
Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they did 101 Dalmatians and 102 Dalmatians. Do you remember with
Yeah.
Glenn Close?
Yeah.
They're hilarious, but I don't really count them as like a live action remake necessarily because at the moment they're really pushing the remake thing.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland, Tim Burton, Through the Looking Glass as well, Maleficent 1 and 2, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Christopher Robin, Dumbo, Aladdin, Lion King, Lady and the Tramp, often forgotten, Mulan, Cruella, Peter Pan and
Yeah,
Wendy.
exactly. Yeah, I would rather you give me Cruella, which is like, regardless of whether Cruella was good or not,
Yeah.
I'd rather you give me if you're
Something
gonna,
different.
Yeah, if you're going to give me a 101 Dalmatian story, give me Cruella, something different.
Peter Pan and Wendy, Pinocchio, Little Mermaid, Snow White, and then upcoming Lilo and Stitch.
What I'm hearing in that list though is a lot of misses. I personally don't like watching the live actions.
Here's my question.
They miss more than they hit.
Are there any Disney live action movies that you would watch rather than watching the original animation?
No, not one. Not one.
Mine actually is Snow White now. I think
Fair, but that's
I'm
because
more
the
likely
original
to put
Snow
that
White
on.
was so pants.
No, I love the original Snow White.
No, it's
so
1939. It's
cute.
nearly 100
But
years
it's-
old.
But it's like, would I rather listen to I'm Wishing or would I rather listen to Waiting on a Wish?
Yeah, but that's
and
because
little
like,
bells and
like I said, I
treetops?
feel like you're cheating with Snow White because it's like
It's not cheating, it's facts. It's
Well,
pure facts.
The film is like 70 years old, and like whatever you remake of it with ants, it's going to be better.
No, that's
Well,
not true.
I feel like when
just
you're
not
then
true.
remaking like a 90s
I feel like-
classic, that's going to be really hard to
and
do.
I'll tell you what else is coming up. Moana live action is coming up. It's too soon for a live action Moana.
I'm not sure about
What's
that.
going on? What are they going to change about Moana in a live action version that is going to make it better or even as good as the original 2D?
Oh no.
Not 2D,
It's gonna
3D
be,
animation.
It's going to be Rubish.
It's going to be Ruby.
Because unless again it's Maui and you call it Maui, and you give me,
Right.
because I love Dwayne Johnson. I love.
and he
love,
is playing
I know.
Maui.
Yeah. I love Dwayne Johnson, and like so, if we give me a film called Maui live action, him and his early demigod adventures, and you can still riddle it with CGI and him transforming and doing all that
Because
kind of
we
stuff.
get his story, right? Because she asks about the tattoos. Imagine going back and actually seeing that story of him being rejected by his people, them making him a demigod and all that.
Yeah.
That is the story I would love to see. If you want to put it in live action, you go ahead.
Fine, yeah, of him pulling up the islands and
Yeah.
him burying the eagle and being the coconuts.
eel,
and
yeah.
The eel, yeah. And doing more and more for humanity, and they're not less and less grateful.
And
leading
why
up to the
does
point
he,
where he
why
steals
does he
the heart
take
of
the heart
Te-Fiti.
of Te Fiti? It's because he says that he does it for them. Well,
Yeah.
why? What's the motive?
And how does he
it
end up on the
happen?
little island?
Right.
Well, if you could give me
me
live action,
backstory.
give me something like that, not just Moana.
So the thing with the Lilo and Stitch thing, right, is I know you said you don't want it frame for frame, but I am actually excited for that one because I do think it looks adorable. I feel like I'm leaning more towards actually, okay, if they're giving us live actions, let's just enjoy them for what they are.
I'm excited for
You
it,
know?
but I'd already tell it's just going to be Lilo and Stitch, and it's what it says on the tin. You know, it's called Lilo and Stitch.
On the tin?
On a tin, it's called Lilo and Stitch, and I'm going to go watch Lilo and Stitch. But I don't want to, because if I
Right.
want to watch Lilo and Stitch, I would turn on Lilo and Stitch.
I want a new film.
Give me Stitch and Lilo.
I would rather see more original ideas and films than I would live action remakes. However, when peeps say that, they then don't go to the cinema to see it, which, to be fair, I have been part of the problem, because I didn't go and see Mufasa, and that is a new story. However, my defense for that is I
it's
don't
a live
ever
action one, though,
I don't
yeah.
ever rewatch the live action Lion King, so I wasn't rushing to go and watch Mufasa. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact that they're doing things like Freakier Friday, like those live actions of like actually live actions. Well, you don't want Freakier Friday with Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Not the direction they've taken it.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Not with the direction they've taken it.
What? You don't
with
know
with
yet.
their kids being the.
You don't know really what's going to happen
No,
yet.
I think like.
You always say on this podcast,
I know.
you don't want to judge a film before it
No,
comes
no,
out.
no,
Look
but-
at you with your judgy pants on.
No, but I've seen the trailer and I'm like, that's just not where I would have taken it. I would have kept it still on Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, two
Right.
amazing actresses who could have delivered something amazing. And now we've got the kids involved, and it's like it feels like you're trying to get a modern audience.
Fair
Get
enough.
the people who watched Freaky Friday and enjoyed Freaky Friday to enjoy, not 15-year-olds now. I don't
Yeah, do
care
you know
what they.
what?
I don't
That
care
is
if they like
fair.
it.
That is fair, because I thought that it would be a type of thing where Lindsay Lohan is having trouble with her kid, and Jamie Lee Curtis is like, haha, that's what you used to be like, told you so.
Yeah, and she's almost a bit like, that's not how I would have done it. That's not how do you
Yeah.
remember you? And they bicker again, and then they switch again.
Right.
And then Jamie Lee Curtis then has to feel the pressure of raising Lindsay Lohan's kids. And and she's always saying, "Oh, you got it so easy being a grandma. You can just take them for a day." And then she
Yeah.
feels the pressures of being a
Right.
grandma. They could have they could have still had kids, but not switching with the kids.
Yeah.
Like what is going on?
What
I was
is
watching the
happening?
trailer, going like, no.
But reserve judgment until it comes out.
I will
because-
reserve judgment, but I just know it won't be as good as what I wanted to see from Freakier Friday.
Right then. Back to live actions then. What is your favourite live action? I will accept a top 2 or 3.
Christopher Robin's right up there
Excellent one.
with Ewan McGregor, because again, I love Ewan McGregor.
But also the way that they
when
did.
you feel something painfully in your heart.
Yeah,
I
the
painfully in my
love.
heart love Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Like I want him to be my relative, but
Yeah, he's like a cool uncle, isn't he?
oh yeah,
The way that they did Eeyore and the gang. The
Perfect.
Eeyore in that film is stunning.
Perfect.
I love that Eeyore so much.
yeah.
Okay, anything else?
I mean, Pete's Dragon was good. Maleficent was good. The first one.
Yeah, but do you ever rewatch it? This is the question.
No, I mean Christopher Robin is the best one on that list. It is, isn't it?
If you were to ask me, I absolutely loved Snow White. I do think it's a huge revamp.
It's definitely up there. When you show me that list of all of them, it's up there.
I
because-
told you.
Yeah, I know. But because the rest are bad, not necessarily. I mean, it's a good film. It's a good film.
The rest are not bad. They're not bad. Like Beauty and the Beast isn't a bad film. I would just not watch it over the original.
Yeah, no.
I tell you what it is. Beauty and the Beast had moments for me where I absolutely loved it. Like Gaston and that whole song is incredible. The bit where she's on The Hills, and I was crying because I felt overwhelmed. Very, very good. Like, it has things about it I really love, but I wouldn't choose to watch it over the original. Other ones I liked, Alice Through the Looking Glass. Everyone hated that one. I absolutely love it. Love it. I have the limited edition dolls and everything. I really think that's such a good one. Underrated. Christopher Robin, obviously up there. Cinderella, I love. I think Lily James is perfect. I think the whole cast is perfect. But I try and separate them from the originals as best I can. I would say, Snow White is my new favourite live action. It just is.
I can see how it would be.
I'm just looking at the list thinking, it just is. Like, if Mulan was done right, that would have been your favourite. But they didn't even put in the songs or Mushu.
That killed me. Mulan was a missed opportunity.
So what is your least favourite live action? Because I do think that things like Jungle Book were good. They added something a little bit different to the story, but they're not like my favourite. They're not my least favourite. My worst is Mulan, because it took away all of the elements I love of Mulan and left nothing. And Mulan's my favourite princess film, so they did have a long way to go, but they didn't even come close. And I hate saying stuff like that because I don't like to be negative to the creators and stuff, but I just think it gave me nothing that I would have wanted in a live action Mulan film. It's personal preference.
I think Lady and the Tramp for me.
Oh, what? No, they were so cute. You're telling me?
Yeah, but you know, I'm like, I don't like dogs. So
yeah, but you
for me, that leaves me totally cold.
You're telling me that you would rather watch Peter Pan and Wendy than Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah, Lady and the Tramp was utterly forgetful. But that's because, again, I don't like dogs. So I'm literally watching a film of animals I don't like.
It's CGI again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where's live action?
Mulan's better than Lady and the Tramp.
I'm sorry, but it ain't.
It's not that bad. It's terrible.
It is.
It's not that bad.
No, trust me, it is. I am excited for Lilo and Stitch. I am. I can't help it. The other ones possibly happening. Some of them have been confirmed. Hercules, Moana, Robin Hood, Aristocats, Bambi, Tangled, and hold the phone.
Just list me all the animated films.
Hold the phone. DreamWorks are getting in on the action and bringing us How to Train Your Dragon in live action.
Yeah, I'm tired of it. Do you know what I feel like this is? I'm so tired of it. You know when like the computer gaming world went through a huge battle royale phase?
Yes.
You had PUBG, you had Fortnite, you had COD Warzone, you had and everyone latches onto it, and it's just, you just can't get away from it. I don't want to play a battle royale anymore. Please stop bringing out games like this. And I feel like it's the same with cinema. It's like, please stop making these live actions.
How do you feel about like Marvel films then? Because you could say, stop bringing out superhero films.
Yeah, please stop. We did it. We did Infinity War. We reached the pinnacle of like, this is as good as it's going to get, and nothing has landed since.
Yeah, it has.
Spider-Man has.
Endgame, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
Yeah, but
sorry, you have to come at me with receipts if you want to put statements out like that.
I could list you many more things that didn't land.
Oh yeah,
Marvel
so could I.
Since.
Don't get me wrong, I could too.
And I could have quite happily lived with, like, after Endgame, if you said that's it, Marvel's closed and gone, I'd be like, well, we finished on a high.
What a hurrah!
Oh, yeah, I'd be like, we finished on a big one.
The thing is, I am like done with it. If they keep doing it the same way. I think Snow White was excellent. For me, it's revived a classic and it's made it better.
Like, say if I turn to you, I'm like, Hercules live action, you'd be like,
I don't need that.
Just don't need it.
No, I agree. I don't need that.
And I feel the same with Snow White. Like, it's good, but I just didn't need it.
But here's the thing with me, though, is I'll always just enjoy it for what it is. I ultimately have no power over these things. So if they're going to give me a live action Lilo and Stitch, I'll enjoy it for what it is.
100%, exactly.
Like, I'm chilling. Yeah, I'll probably still really enjoy it. Not necessarily going to watch it again and again and again. The point that I keep making, because here's the thing, with the sort of like streaming culture that we have at the moment, okay, they may be putting out things where they get good money, like live action Lion King did great. I would love to know how many times that gets rewatched now. Is it a one and done scenario? I personally have never watched it again. No. I watched it once, and I am the person who, I watch it when it's in cinema, I watch it when it comes out on like to buy, and then I watch it on streaming, and then I'll watch it again and again if I like a film.
You know what's coming?
What?
Live action Finding Nemo.
No.
Yeah, well, that is how I feel about, like, I just...
No, that's a Pixar film, we're fine.
It's coming.
They won't do it.
It's coming. Mark my words.
Coming around the mountain
when this podcast comes out, we can, even if it takes 10 years, we'll look back. Mark my words.
No.
Live action Finding Nemo's coming, and it's going to be atrocious.
Storm the studio. Like Pixar, no, don't sell out.
When do we hold up our hands?
I'm already done.
I say we should have stopped.
Here's my other question. Has all of this just come around because it's really fun to cast who you want it to be on social media? So, for example, loads of people love to cast Disney's Tangled on social media. I've seen a lot of people saying that they'd put Milo, you know, the guy I really like from School Spirits, seems really nice.
Yeah.
And he was from Zombies on Disney Channel. Him as Flynn Rider. Yeah, I can see it. I don't want to see it because I don't want a live action Tangled.
Yeah, I've never been into that whole thing.
Give me a live action Mother Gothel film, fine.
But I know you can go on IMDb and see these lists of people like, oh, who I would cast in this, but I just don't care.
Right, who would you cast as live action Rapunzel?
Probably Amanda Seyfried, because I love her.
Stunning, but is she a bit old now?
And she sings as well, she's got a nice voice.
Yeah, but she's a bit old now.
Oh, yeah, that's probably showing my age.
She can be
Because she's still like...
She can be Rapunzel's mum. That'd be cute.
What, like the Queen?
Yeah.
Not such a minor part to Amanda Seyfried.
Well, it doesn't have to be minor because they can make it bigger in live action. One of our missing Disney songs that we wrote, which never got released, was the parents of Rapunzel singing a song about being devastated that their princess has gone. Because that's never really touched upon, is like the turmoil that they must go through. Yeah, my point is it just because social media loves to do this and therefore it gets people talking? It's not that I like don't want to see it, can't be asked. It's more like, what would I rather see? I would rather see a brand new story I've never heard before. Okay,
talking of casting, who if you couldn't cast Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, who would you cast as Snow White and the Evil Queen?
I genuinely have no idea for Snow White. Because I actually prefer it when it's someone I know less. Because the problem was with Aladdin and Jasmine, who they cast, I'm a Disney girly, so she's a girl from Lemonade Mouth on Disney Channel. For the Evil Queen, I personally would have gone for someone a bit older. I don't know if she can sing, but someone more along the lines of Sandra Bullock, who I've seen her play sort of more angry stuff, or maybe Idina Menzel. Clearly a beautiful girly, but a bit older. Because Gal Gadot is only...
You're saying Idina Menzel's old?
Yeah.
She's a goddess.
Yeah, she is, exactly. But Gal Gadot...
I can't see her as old.
But here's the thing, a big part of that role is her being jealous of her youth and her beauty. And so I felt like Gal Gadot she's only 39 right now. So when they were filming that, she was only in her, 30s.
I do see what you mean.
So is there anything that you would like to see in live action at all?
Only to make it all stop. A live action Minnie and Mickey. Then everyone would say too far. Everyone would say we're done, and then we would never see a live action again. And then that would be enough. Okay. If we're gonna do live action, show me Minnie and Mickey in live action. And everyone say that have we gone too far, and I'll be like, good, enough now.
That is too far.
Stop.
I agree.
No more, please.
Well, I think if we're doing it, let's do Tiana. Let's do Princess and the Frog. Do something.
But let's do it well, because that's such a good film.
Imagine the New Orleans music being live played.
Could be the best thing.
Could be great.
Could be the best thing ever done.
I don't understand why we're getting a Tangled and stuff. I don't know what they think they can add to that story. Whereas I think seeing New Orleans music live would add a magical quality. But ultimately, I don't really want any live actions. I'll watch them and I'll enjoy them and I'll love them. I loved Snow White. It makes me feel hopeful. Seeing Snow White and seeing the trailer for Lilo and Stitch makes me feel hopeful because I've actually felt something in my gut. All the others that I've watched the trailers for, I haven't felt like, oh, I'm so excited to go. I've been like, oh, cool. I'll go watch that same movie that I can watch on Disney Plus at home in a cute version on 2D. You can let us know as well what you think of the Disney live action movies. I know some of this may be controversial. The whole thing is a controversial corner today. Do you know what else though? With Little Mermaid, they added a couple of songs.
Scuttlebutt.
It's one of the worst songs I've ever heard. Lin-Manuel Miranda, I love you, man. I'm sorry, but that was a hard miss. Why is no one talking about how bad that song is? I think that may be my least favourite Disney song.
I feel like they maybe gave him 5 minutes, or they paid him for 5 minutes, and he just came in and just wrote 3 lines.
But I remember watching that and being like, what is happening?
This is the guy who wrote Hamilton, mind.
Yeah.
Masterclass.
He wrote Encanto. He wrote the first Moana soundtrack.
World class.
And then he's given us Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
No thanks. Take it back. You scuttle your butt away from me. It's time for Controversial Corner.
Go.
Do you prefer in big films when you know...
What's a big film?
Well, big Disney releases and stuff like that, or Star Wars or whatever. Do you prefer when it's a really well-known actor or not? So here's an example for you. I've personally never seen the young girl who's playing Lilo before. The woman who's playing Nani. Like, there's a lot of new people, but like Jumba is Zach Galifianakis, so we are very familiar with him and his work. What do you prefer in those big roles? Like,
does it matter? No, I think I would prefer whoever's best.
Yeah, of course.
And if that's someone that's not famous, good, because it's a break for them, an opportunity. If we're going to choose someone big, it needs to be someone who's so skilled that they're not known for just one thing. I don't like it when they reuse like voice actors a lot. It just makes it hard to really connect with the character because it's like it's not.
Do you know why that's so interesting? Talking about Snow White is it's just come out recently that when the original Snow White voiced Snow White, Disney allegedly was blocking her from getting other work around the place at the time because he didn't want her voice being associated with other projects other than Princess Snow White.
Fair, so long as they compensated for that. Like if I was the actress, I would then be asking for a massive paycheck.
Yeah, no. Apparently,
like, if you're almost copywriting my voice to your project, I don't mind being Snow White forever. I would like to see and royalties.
No, apparently it wasn't like that.
And then that's totally fair. That's ripping off. That's Walt being a little bit of a rip-off merchant.
It came back around at the end, and she was invited back to voice the ride and stuff like that. Like really cute in the end.
Yeah.
And she was apparently a lovely lady as well. The original voice of Snow White had like portraits of Snow White everywhere in her house, and like would always sign things for people who knocked on her door. Like just a really cute lady. Really like her.
Nice. I prefer someone I've not seen before.
It's funny because sometimes like I feel really comfortable with certain actors, right? Like you know they're gonna be good. So like for example, Tom Hanks, I know if I watch him in something, he's going to be great. So I feel comfortable with it. I know with someone like Eddie Redmayne, he's going to be great and I'm going to really enjoy it. Like Jennifer Lawrence, I love her in everything she's ever done. Comedy, XYZ, like whatever she does. So I do think there's an element of comfort in having someone you know. Ultimately, it is an industry and it is a business. So they are going to choose people who look good on a poster because they're famous.
But they need to be the best people for the job. Do you know what I mean?
But are they always?
But I suppose it's the whole package deal because you might have a young, fresh out of academy or an up-and-coming actor or actress, but can they do all the press talks, the tour around the world?
Yes.
Can they represent the character well? Because if you're inexperienced, you make a blunder, you could wreck the whole campaign for the film. Wrong thing.
This is how people were treating Rachel Zegler.
Which
didn't
almost
even do that
and
wrong.
I know it wasn't even her. You know, like I said, it wasn't even.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The hate there was ridiculous. But yes, there have been
But
scenarios.
one misstep, even if it's their fault intentionally or not intentionally, one misstep can jeopardise the whole thing. I mean, like, we haven't even talked about it. This film didn't have a premiere in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
The whole Europe premiere was scrapped.
Yeah.
And they did a small bespoke performance in Spain because of the backlash, or the feared backlash that it would face from so many points.
So let me put this to you. Let's get this serious now. When there was backlash from people about Moses Ingram playing, what was her?
Reva?
Yeah, Reva, that's her name, in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Which she was fantastic in,
She
by
was
the way.
amazing.
I think Moses
Love her.
Ingram was amazing.
She was also great. She was in Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Amazing. Anywho, Ewan McGregor came out and did a video and said, like, there's no room for hate here in the Star Wars community, blah, blah.
Good.
That's the type of energy we want.
And that meant more for not just because he was Obi-Wan Kenobi anyway, he was also executive producer on that as well. So so he was a person of influence and importance to the project.
Yes.
Coming out and rubber stamping that we do not hear
say
you
no
fans.
to hate.
Well, you're not even fans, but he's just saying
Right.
we don't hear this nonsense. We just don't stand for it.
Exactly.
So, but like you say, why
are we hiding away
why other
the
execs
Snow White
don't do that as well?
project?
Yeah,
why
was
are we
the
not?
director of Snow White project? Why didn't they come forward and voice out and just be like, I don't consider you guys fans if you just mouthing off this rubbish. It's just like
It's the same with like everything that happened with the Acolyte. They were sort of just like left to deal with the hate, and I just think I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. Look, let me put it to you like this. I don't care if you do not like the film Snow White. However, those people deserved a premiere. They have put so much effort into that film for years. It got delayed at certain points and blah, 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 and reshot. They deserved a premiere. Rachel Zegler is the perfect Snow White, in my opinion. She deserved a premiere. And don't get me wrong, they had some in places and they took it to like Asia somewhere and they did little openings here and there. But this is the first Disney princess film. It is incredible, and we're not giving the remake a proper premiere. It doesn't sit right with me. I also think there's a case for just turn the comments off.
And they don't address it. But being silent on it is different to addressing it. Do you know what I mean?
I just felt like the way that Ewan McGregor dealt with the hate with his series and
really
all
good.
of that, I respected it a lot.
So did a lot of the Star Wars community, because he is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he is it. So,
yes, sir. Thank you,
someone who commands that respect within the community,
Yes.
coming forward and saying, I don't consider you fans if you behave like that, and there's just no place for you
Do you
guys
know what
here.
I've just realised?
Fair play.
No, I've just realised.
What?
All of these people that we are talking about who have hate are all women as well. That's the other part that's a bit upsetting, is like, it's all women as well who are just being attacked on the line. Back to the controversial corner anyway. I think I do actually like it when they have someone who is lesser known. Don't get me wrong, they have to be the best for the job, but
It's also an opportunity. That's why it's important, because you've given them a huge platform. You've got Disney. You're letting them play a huge character. If you can give it to someone who's good though, like I said, it needs to be the best
Right.
person for the job.
So let me give you this example. Aulihi, who played the
Moana,
voice of
yeah.
Moana, she is now too old to play Moana in the live action.
Yeah.
So they've got a new girlie, and she said that she's like so happy that she can share being that princess with someone, and it's someone
Defo.
else's opportunity. And I'm like, spoken like a true princess. I love that.
Because you are too old to play the little 16,
Yeah.
17-year-old Moana. That's fine.
That is so true. You're
Yeah.
giving someone else the opportunity. That's why I liked it when they cast young Han Solo and didn't de-age the
Because he
face.
was perfect. I thought the Solo movie was incredible.
So did I. We loved
Literally
it.
incredible.
Yeah. At the moment, it's very much a world of hatred gets clicks, it gets views.
It does.
And
That's how it works.
ultimately, I will never be like that. I can always find something I like in a film. I do find that a lot of my opinions seem to be the less popular opinion. Every time I say something positive about something, I get so many replies saying, oh my gosh, I totally agree. I thought I was the only one who liked this film. Or, oh yeah, I love that song, or like whatever it is. So there are people out there with the same opinions as me. It's just that the people who hate things tend to shout the loudest.
I think
The algorithms love to push hatred.
Well, yeah, because because people cling on to it. You know, I think of what the Times said about this film before we went and saw it. The Times UK wrote, "Believe the anti-hate, it's as bad as they say." But if you're a column writer for the Times and your job is to sell papers or get clicks
Right.
and views, you're going to write stuff like that.
And this is the thing with content creators now. It's all about clicks and money that you can get
Yeah.
from views and blah, blah, blah.
Because
Whereas-
that's his job. You've got to remember that he has a motive to drive him to be negative.
But it's like, I felt like there was this kind of hate around like Elemental when it came out, and everyone's saying that Pixar lost its spark. And then we went to watch it and it was incredible. And eventually everyone caught up and realised that it's a really good film. Yeah, I find it difficult. But I do hope that you guys enjoy this podcast, because we do try and keep it level. We have opinions and we have favourites and things like that, but we're never too neggy in it, because overall we just really enjoy it, you know. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, we are here every Friday at 8 a.m. You can give us a like if you would like to. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify. I think you can follow us on Apple as well if you're listening on there. Thank you very much. You can let us know all of your thoughts on Disney live actions too, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time.